try and resolve that issue. Is Ghana's economic model working? We have a midterm budget to be read on Thursday. How well are we doing? I have two men who run large institutions with some useful perspectives on the matter of Ghana's economy. Ken Thompson is the CEO of Dalex Finance. They employ over 3,000 people. They're one of the largest private sector lenders in the country. He's a chartered accountant by training. Ken, great to have you on The Point of View on CTTV. Good evening.
Good evening, Bernard. How are you?
It's fine. It's always good to have you.
Yes.
I also have Kwame Asumening. He is I call him a financial economist because he's worked in banking, he lectures, but he also runs an organization of hundreds of people. He runs Gold Coast Financial Services. Kwame, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great. So viewers, you can contribute to the show. We want to know what you think about Ghana's economy. How well are we doing as a country? We went to the streets to ask some Ghanaians what they thought of the Ghanaian economy. Here are the things they said.
In the 2018 budget, government's projected expenditure was pegged at 62 billion cedis. From this, government expects 50.5 billion cedis from domestic revenue. By the first quarter of this year, government missed its revenue targets for 2018. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta justifies the need to increase some consumption-based taxes, such as the NHIL, to sustain the scheme.
If we look at something like NHIA, we are moving to, I think we are now 11 million people, and then we'll be moving to about 20. So that when we talk about 15 cedis, that's inadequate.
Consumption-based taxes such as VAT and NHIL, according to tax analysts, affects prices of almost all goods and services. For example, there is VAT and NHIL components on basic goods such as toothpaste, shoes, dresses, and toiletries you buy from the supermarkets. Even sachet water has a VAT component. So what are the implications of an increase in VAT on the ordinary Ghanaian? William Demetia is a tax analyst with Alina Chia and Associates.
Well, I can tell you for a fact that it's going to affect sachet water package, because the law says that the supply of water is exempt, except those that are in packages. So if water is flowing through your taps by Ghana Water, you don't pay VAT on it, NHIL. But if you go and buy packaged water, whether it's in sachet, whether it's in bottle, whatever form, there's VAT on it. So it simply means that we are going to see potentially an increase in the price of even water, which is life.
Come next week, Thursday, when the finance minister goes to Parliament, Ghanaians will know the rates of increase or other social intervention measures that will be announced to cushion them. But before then, what are the expectations of Ghanaians on the increments?
Yes, I will embrace any increment that they bring on board. That's it. Because I agree that people will raise an alarm and all that. But personally, I believe that if the increment that they are introducing will not be a problem, and then they think that they can use it judiciously to bring sanity to the system, I'm okay with it. Yeah.
I think it isn't bad what the government intend doing by taxing small from the public. In America, everybody pays tax. Why Ghana here to pay tax? Then they are grumbling. Why? But you want your area to be developed. You see, this place is tarred. And if this place is untarred, you will be saying the dust is worrying us. So, as for the taxes, the white man will never come and then tar this place for you. You have to do it. So you must squeeze yourself small to do the task. So it's reasonable.
Maybe if you are Ghanaian, you must pay tax once you are working. But they said now it's 17.5. But I think if it was 19%, it's okay. But 21% is too high. Because now the market, they are not buying anything. I'll pay it. By the 21% is too high. Maybe 19 or 19.5 is okay.
Taxes are important for national development. Indeed, it is a crime not to pay taxes, and one may go to prison for the offense. According to the Ministry of Finance, Ghana currently has about 6 million formal workers, yet only 1.5 million pay their income taxes. So what can government do to broaden the tax nets? William Demetia again.
At what expense are we going to raise the revenue? Are there other innovative measures we can adopt? So we've been singing a lot about property-based taxation. What has happened to that? We've been talking a lot about tax stamp implementation. What has happened to that? We've been talking a lot about when the Income Tax Act was passed in 2015, there's something in the law called presumptive tax. So if you're an individual and you have a tabletop item, the law says pay 3% on cash basis. So we look at what you've made. You don't have to register for VAT.
So that was a report read by CT Business News, Anita Arthur. So the discussion was on taxes, but we'll start with the broad economy and narrow down to taxes. So as I said, I had Ken Thompson, who is the CEO of DLX Finance, and Kwame Ofori-Asumeni, CEO of Gold Coast Financial Holdings. Gentlemen, welcome again. So Ken, how do you tell if an economy is doing well or not?
Well, Dora, good evening.
Good evening.
I mean, it's quite easy. But the first thing we've got to be sure, we've got to remember is that it's not about statistics. How an economy is doing, it's got nothing to do with statistics. So it's about whether somebody is gainfully employed, whether they're able to satisfy their needs for food, clothing, and shelter, whether they're able to save, and whether they can occasionally treat themselves. That is when you know whether an economy is working. And really, I mean, you should ask your cameraman. Those are the people that will tell you whether the economy is working.
Employment, food, savings, and health.
Exactly. And it's about the value of the CD in your pocket.
Wow.
Do we have jobs? I don't think so. Are people gainfully employed? I don't think so. Does the CD go far? I don't think so.
Wow.
I mean, so for me, I mean, if you take a straw poll in this studio, that's what tells me whether or not an economy is doing well. It's got nothing to do with statistics. Absolutely nothing to do with statistics.
Wow. Kwame, do you agree?
Yes, I do. I do in a sense that it depends on who you are asking this question. A politician would just talk about indicators, GDP, inflation, interest rate, and all that. And that doesn't really fill the vacuum. Let me put it this way. Most people are interested in income. Most people are interested in cost of living.
Okay.
Most people are interested in how well they can get a job. And these are the things that when people get them, when people, it affects people's life.
So you are saying income, cost of living, job.
Yes.
He says employment. So job and employment the same.
The same thing.
Food, savings, health. So you are looking at welfare. You are looking at income.
Same thing. And I do agree with him.
So those macroeconomic models don't matter?
For me, even
balance
the way...
of payment, inflation, fiscal rigidities,
don't matter. Let me help you here. People will talk about GDP.
Yes.
And the GDP is about consumption. What data do we have to gather to have analysis on consumption? Here in Ghana, we don't have sales report.
Okay.
We do not have retail report. So how do we calculate the consumption part that we need for household? Then we come to investment. Investment is a key component of GDP calculation. So if you realize, we need to have inventories report, we need to have new businesses, we need to have payroll, we need to have some of these indicators. We don't gather them, we don't have it. Companies that are coming up, companies that are folding, we don't seem to have them. So how do we know that the economy has grown and therefore we have these companies coming up, we have employment avenues, opportunities that are there? We don't have them. So for me, the way they even calculate GDP
is a problem for you.
Is a problem
so
for me.
So you are not too into GDP and those things? Income, cost of living?
Precisely. Then let's talk about government spending. because it's also a function of GDP. Over the past years, government is not spending. No public services growth. And income actually is a problem.
What do you mean government is not spending? Government is spending. In fact, government spends too much.
Government spends only. I have a case about that. Government spends only into salaries and other things.
But that's spending.
Not public infrastructure. Not capital accumulation. Not capital formation. So we have a problem. We can't.
So you are saying government is not spending where it ought to spend. There's a slide I'll put up first. A slide that shows you that the first 3 line items of our budget are compensation for workers, interest payments, and statutory payments. When government pays those 3, everything is finished. This
doesn't build the economy. So it means that government needs to spend more to develop.
But I can't say, so you pay people's salary, because you just said income, you said employment. So government must pay people. Interest, you must pay interest. And if you look on the screen, for the past 3 years, all our money goes into that. And then statutory transfers, Disassembly Common Fund, and that kind of thing. So are you saying that this is not the kind of spending we need, or that we need more money to spend into investment?
We need more money to spend into investment. These are given. There's no way you can lay off because you can't cut the salaries for now. We have borrowed to some extent that we need to pay. So these are given. You cannot touch it. What happens to the economic development that you need to bring? Which means you need to invest more.
So spend in investment.
Spend
more
investment.
Ken, what is wrong with that? What is wrong with our economy based on this thing I put up there?
But I have to, now I'm beginning to sound like a broken record. Ghana is broke.
Ghana is broke.
We are broke. I mean, I'm sounding like a broken record. Ghana is broke. If you spend over that 90 nearly 100% of your income on 3 line items, you're broke. And of course, when you're broke, what do? You either increase income, you cut expenditure, or you do both. Increase income, cut expenditure, do both. But I don't think the government is serious about collecting more money, Because I came Thompson, just not long ago, I said, property tax, I will pay. If you come to my house, I'll cut you a check. But when did I do my presentation? February.
Yes.
Or February, yes, sometime. Nobody has come to my house.
Really?
Ghana is broke. And, that's the reality we must all come to live with and find a way to get out of it.
But the increased, let me show you something. The increased income and property tax. So, 2016 to 2017, just to be fair, property tax and income tax increased from $2.7 billion to $3.2 billion.
Well, Bernard,
so they increased it.
You can slice it any way you like.
No, I'm just answering based on fact.
Yeah, well,
the increased income, and yes, the increased income.
If you spend three on your income, you spend on 3 things.
Yes.
Over 99%, almost 99%. You are broke. Let's move on.
So we are broke.
We are broke.
But let me
finish.
We have always been broke.
Ghana has been broke for a long time.
Since when?
We are broke.
Since we left HIPIC.
Since we left HIPIC.
Because HIPIC was in early or sophomore.
Since about for the last, I got data as far as the last 4 or 5 years, we've been broke.
2014.
It's been getting closer and closer. The amount of money we spend, how we spend our money.
We are broke.
We are broke. Ghana is broke.
And let me help you here.
Sorry, let me finish.
No, let me finish.
Yeah. And you see, the challenge we have is how do we expand the tax net? It's not about deepening it. All we keep on doing is trying to deepen the tax net. We need to expand.
What's the difference?
What difference? Well, the difference is getting more people to pay tax.
That's expand. Wide, not deep.
That's right.
Getting them to pay more.
And let me read something. This is from the state of, the thing about Ghana's economy is that the issues have been diagnosed so well. So well. I mean, this is from 2017 State of the Nation Address, Nana Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
We must have the courage to start building our future and take the hard decisions, that need to be taken to grow our economy. We have no choice but to reduce the budget deficit and cut waste in all sectors of public life. We must complete the formalization of the economy. The process for a comprehensive national identification system and a property titling system will be completed this year. That will boost confidence in our country and increase investment from nationals and foreigners. Then we will be able to generate jobs. We must boost the confidence of the private sector to invest. I rest my case.
So he said all the things we have to say.
This is done. I mean, the diagnosis is spot on.
Last year.
And this one, I'm not paraphrasing. This is straight from. And he also said we're spending 99% of our income on 3-line items.
So he said everything we all know.
We all know. We've said it.
So what is he supposed to do?
What's supposed to do? What he said he was going to do. That's what he used to do. Yeah, all he has to do is
but is it as simple as that?
Well, but that's what he said he would do. That's not politics. That's what he said he would do. All he has to do.
So just remind me what he said again there. You said number one, he will.
The process for a comprehensive national identification system and a property titling system will be completed this year.
Okay.
That will boost confidence in our country and increase investment from nationals and foreigners.
Okay.
Then we'll be able to generate jobs. If you don't know people, how are you going to collect tax anyway? That's what he said. Ghana is broke. Let's get off this. It's broke.
Let me take a comment on that. Do you agree we are broke?
You see, I don't.
Oh, we are not broke.
If you spend 10,000 cedis.
Can I?
Okay, let me explain. How come we are not broke?
Hold on, let me give you. If you spend, you earn 1,000 cedis,
yes,
and you spend, you buy fuel, you pay rent and healthcare. Yes. It's 900 cedis. Yes. You are broke.
Maybe you have an uncle who gives you money.
Okay, that's true.
So maybe that's why it's going.
There are two things here. A sovereign country that issues its own currency, affordability is not a problem.
Wow.
Let me repeat it. A sovereign country that has its own central bank and its parliament. Government of Ghana has its own currency called cedi.
Okay.
Government of Ghana is an issuer of its own currency. Ghana government can never tell me that it's broke.
What?
Yes, because government of Ghana can issue currency at an unlimited quantity that they want. As long as they are spending this in the country, Ghana, as long as there are resources available for us to spend the money on, government of Ghana can pay for anything that they want to spend on.
Are you saying they should just print more currency?
I'll come to that.
Wow.
I'll come to that. You see, you also made a statement about somebody paying
1,000
cedis and all that. Government of Ghana is not like an individual like you and I that has budget constraints. You and I are currency users. Government of Ghana is currency issuer. They issue currency and they can issue currency at unlimited amount, quantity that they want. Take, for instance, MTN or Vodafone or any of the companies that issue their own credit and give it to people. They will never run out of credit.
But there's no credit regulator in the credit sector. But
let me finish it. Because I'm building a point for you too. Everybody just listen to me.
Yes.
You see, the government of Ghana can issue currency can issue its currency to invest, to pay for anything that they want to pay for
domestically.
As long as it's in Ghana cedis.
Okay.
As long as it's in Ghana cedis. Government of Ghana doesn't need to depend on taxes for us.
But printing currency must be backed by real productivity. Otherwise, you're just going to lead to inflation. At least that's what the theory tells us.
Zimbabwe is a good example.
So if you print your own currency,
let me help you here.
Develop the point.
Inflation here in Ghana, yes, it can cause inflation, but where we are now, there's no way it can come to an inflation. Let's use East Legon. You see, inflation can only come when you invest or spend on an existing asset, right? If everybody is spending on this, or let's say East Legon, everybody is buying a house, the chances are that the price of East Legon houses will go up.
Yes.
But if we have other places like airports, like West Legon and other places, there is no way the house at East Legon will go up because the economy has expanded. We have alternative places to invest. There are more room for spending. Inflation comes only when we have no room for spending and we are spending on the same item that is when it will cause inflation. But if you look at the inflation that we have in the country, it's all cost push. It has never been demand push.
Demand pull.
Demand pull. Right? Demand pull.
So you're saying domestically we can't be broke. We can only be broke when it comes to our foreign...
We can only be broke when we come to our foreign...
indebtedness.
That's the point. And I've always been saying that do not borrow if you don't need that much of dollar. Don't borrow in dollar-denominated currency. Use your CD.
So you reduce your external vulnerability.
Precisely.
So let me just get you clearly. So you're saying that we are not broke because all our liabilities domestically we can print currency to pay for.
We can do that overnight.
Really?
Yes. You see, treasury bills, what's about treasury bills?
Government borrowing from the domestic market.
Backing
but
with
that
what?
crowds out the private sector.
Backing with what? No, we'll go slowly.
They promise to pay you.
But it has no backing. Nothing backs it.
Yes.
It's just like
a
printing.
Promise. Yes.
It's a printing.
Yes.
Treasury bill is equal to akin to printing. Nothing else.
So government should borrow. Just hold on. So if government borrows more, how come then we say government has domestic debt?
Domestic debt, you check history. No single currency pay is domestic debt.
They always keep deferring it with other bonds.
Keeps going.
So so you're saying analyzing our economy, we should not look at the domestic liabilities. We should look at the foreign.
Create domestic currency to build your economy. Create it and build your economy.
Wow.
Put it into agriculture. For instance, we have food problems here in the country. Food security is an issue. Create it. Put it into agriculture. If it's rice, put it into rice. If it's cattle, put it into cattle.
Let me take a quick comment on
and
that.
And then make sure.
You seem.
I mean, I'm totally confused. I'm totally confused.
This is totally.
Oh, but no.
This is totally radical.
I disagree, but I don't want to even go there. I disagree, but I don't want to go there.
That we should bring money to pay our domestic debt.
If it was that easy, Ken would be sleeping in Bahamas.
But so many countries do that. U.S. prints almost every time for everything that they do.
But
Ken, you need to admit though that in the past, the U.S. currency was backed by gold, but now it's no longer backed by gold.
The U.S. they own the dollar. Don't compare yourself to the U.S.
But no, we own the
city.
We own the city.
Nobody wants it.
No, but domestically we need it.
For what?
To pay for salaries.
Why don't you print?
The business you do. The business
why don't you print?
It doesn't work like that.
No. Let's argue. The business that you do.
No, let's not argue about this. I disagree with you. But let's not
argue.
How much money do you
let him explain why he disagrees. Because it seems very simple.
It's too simple to disagree.
Is it too?
You
disagree because it's too simple?
No, because there are consequences for doing it. It's not that straightforward. Okay, so we have the governor. If it was that simple, we wouldn't have any problems.
But you see,
hold on. What complicates that solution? Is it that the world's financial system will not agree, or there are consequences in printing your own currency to pay your domestic debt?
Okay, let's take it at a very basic level. Assuming the government decides to start printing money, and then doubles everybody's salaries, what's going to happen? Inflation will go through the roof.
This is existing. You are not expanding the economy. What I say is that we should do it to expand the economy.
So they should print money to, say, for example, do 1D, 1F?
Precisely.
But you see, I mean, look at it.
But the input for the 1D, 1F have to be imported.
Exactly.
So you need dollars.
Okay. There are certain things that you need to borrow in dollars. That one, we can't have any negotiations about that. But the one that we have to use, the local domestic resources, it has to be paid for in cedis.
Like which
and we
ones?
Can do that.
Like which ones? Rice.
Rice seeds.
The fertilizer has to come from overseas.
Fertilizer, if we start building fertilizer
factories in the country. It means that if we were producing enough of our stuff here, he will respond to be correct. So it's not as incredulous as it sounds. The problem with this analysis is that Ghana imports practically everything.
Let's not complicate it. Look, it's about supply and demand.
Okay.
Nobody wants cedis.
Who? I want cedis. Give me cedis. You are paid in cedis.
No, nobody wants cedis.
You are paid in cedis.
No, wait, let him explain. Nobody wants cedis.
If the demand, if people wanted cedis, the currency won't be falling. It's demand and supply. Nobody wants cedis because we import everything. Everything we import, and you can't have a stable currency if you are import driven. It's not possible.
Okay.
So nobody wants cedis. Everybody wants dollars. So the currency will fall. Is the rate at which it will fall? And that is, unless we correct that situation.
So it's not that nobody wants it. Actually, because nobody produces anything here
exactly.
to merit the need for cedis.
Exactly.
So, okay, so hold on. No, hold on. So I've heard you say before that we should go to agriculture. So actually, if we listen to your idea and produce all the food we needed, we quit importing oil, quit importing rice, quit importing turkey tail, and all the food we eat is local. Part of this analysis could be correct.
Oh, then there'll be demand. Then the currency will be stable. Then nobody needs dollars. You buy everything
but
locally.
That's what we need to do.
Then that's correct, right?
But
that's what we need to do.
It will be. I don't.
Which one comes first? I just want to be clear. You're saying that it will take a consistent discipline in local production
before
to create the situation that he's
describing. I mean,
but that's the situation we want. Is that not it?
Yeah, but nobody will. The government will not start to print cedis. The economy will. Everything will go haywire.
Really?
Yeah, it will go haywire.
If you print cedis and use it to pay teachers, you print cedis and use it to pay farmers. You print cedis and use it to buy farm inputs. They are producing local fertilizer.
But everything comes from overseas.
But so we are building them here.
But are you
building them here?
Building what?
Building a factory.
Building what inputs? We don't have inputs to build a factory here.
Who said?
Like what?
We have rice. Let's take rice, for instance. We have the land here locally. We can organize people and pay them cedis for them to give us the land. We have rice seeds here. The University of Ghana, University of Tech,
Kwame
Nkrumah University can generate rice seeds for us. We'll pay them with cedis.
No.
Hold on.
It doesn't work like that.
But are we going to pay them in dollars? We pay them in cedis. No, so. So in everything that we're going to do, as long as we are producing them here in Ghana, we can use the cedi to pay them.
So everything we produce in Ghana can be paid for in cedis?
In cedis. And that's what we should do. Everything
that takes pressure off our cedi.
Precisely.
But then what about our external debt?
And this external debt, at some point, we need to go for dollar. Because, you see, ammunition, for instance, aircraft, military installations, and all those things, we don't produce them here. High-tech equipments and all that, we don't produce them here. You need a dollar to do that.
Wow.
But you see, today, every little thing, we are going to China, we are going somewhere, and take the cedi, turn it around into dollars to go and bring them. Why can't we issue the cedi here and use it to build the little things or the stuff that we need that we can produce them here in Ghana? Why can't we do that?
Ken, his argument seems very compelling to me.
No, I don't know about compelling.
No, I mean,
because
I want somebody to convince me.
It seems very simple. He says produce what you need here,
you see,
take pressure off your currency, and then look for dollars to pay for things we import.
Let me speak.
Yes, Ken.
The issue is, over time, why don't we produce? Our economy is not competitive.
Yes.
It's not competitive because it's cheaper to bring in stuff than to produce locally. Mm-hmm. It's not competitive because our currency is at the wrong value. Mm-hmm. And you've got to find a way to make the economic production in Ghana competitive. I remember yesterday, over the weekend, I met a young lady who is producing something. He had won some competitions producing something in Ghana. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why she wanted me to buy her product was to say that because it's produced in Ghana. I said, no. Buying made in Ghana is a financial decision. It's not an emotional one. So if perfumed rice from Thailand is cheaper than locally made rice, I'll buy locally made rice. The thing is, how competitive is our production?
Okay.
That is the key. How competitive is your production? Mm-hmm. Your production is not competitive because your currency is overvalued. Your production is not competitive because you are overtaxed. Mm-hmm. And those are the issues you have to deal with. Mm-hmm. But this business of printing cedis, and I don't know.
All right, I'll take a break. Before let me read a few messages. Good evening, Bernard. The Ghanaian economy is the same as the colonial economy, which focused solely on producing raw materials and opening huge free taxation system to foreign expatriates in the name of private sector. There is a need for our economy to fly out of the neoliberal economic policy, which seeks to make our country a grateful borrower. Kwekwe Champon. Bernard, we don't mind paying taxes. What people in authority use the money for is our problem. Nana Opening Kweku from Elebu. Clegg from Mpoho. Ben, good evening to you all. Kudos to you and your crew who talked about UGMC. Okay, this is a different issue. Ben, I think we should register all informal casual workers electronically and let the employers pay at least 5 cedis per month through mobile money as soon as they deduct from employees. I think this will bring a lot of money into the coffers of the nation in reference to whether Ghana is broke or not. Samuel Enum Tete. There's a long one from Justice Ofei. I'm not going to read yet. Simon Dakura. Ben, I'm a nurse and I'm paid salary every month, but the money is valueless to me. I basically use everything on rent, utilities, transportation, to and from work, feeding. I'm not seeing top even though I am single. What happens if I get married or fall sick? I don't care about the so-called economic figures. Simon Dakura. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll move into other issues about Ghana's economy. Where are the jobs? What is happening to our banks? And how do we get out of debt? My guest, Kwame Ofori-Sumeni and Ken Thompson. This is the point of view. Don't go away.
We spice up your mornings with culturally enriched conversations, social interviews, and policy-oriented discussions that will keep you updated on the progress of the nation.
Because we're giving only those in their third trimester. So in the next 3 months, those in their second would be ready to receive the kits. And we're taking data at registration, which is before they take the kits, at delivery and post-delivery, so that we can analyze and we'll see the numbers. So from the numbers and the data that we're collecting, we would know what has worked, what hasn't worked, you know.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Let your voice be heard with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. Join us for breakfast daily, only on City TV.
Spend 30 minutes every weekday catching up with all the trending social media conversations of the day. If you tweet it, we'll read it. We might just even Skype you.
Just, no matter your situation, you can rise to the top.
Absolutely.
You really
and
can.
It's interesting that he wrote this article on the 17th of June, and on the 18th of June, yesterday, he actually scored 2 goals in the Belgium World Cup meet.
30 minutes is all it takes, so use the hashtag 30minutes on social media to catch our attention. Join the most interactive social media TV show weekdays at 5 p.m. only on City TV.
Welcome back to the point of view. Very interesting points coming through. Alex Medelson says, have to agree that the economist's views and opinions are just theoretical. Like saying there must exist an independent BOG, but that's not real. The 2 men are engaging in foreign economics, not Ghanaian. It only takes seconds to print new currency, but takes many months to cultivate rice, cassava, etc. If they don't match, this equilibrium will create problems for your economy.
I'll help him.
Nana Ofori, so this makes sense because building your economy is based on adding value to your local products. So there's sort of confusion. Okay, let me come back to you. So you've said before that we should go to agriculture. You've said we should reduce our imports. Why do you keep saying that?
You see, really the key to create jobs that will provide prosperity for this country is agric. And we need to make agric sexy, to make the young people now find saying that they're a poultry farmer just as sexy as saying that they write code. But that's where we have a competitive advantage. And this agric song that I've been singing for the last few years, it's been sung since independence. Everybody who's been to school in Ghana was told that Ghana relies on primary products and we need to diversify. It's basic, and that's what we need to do. But somehow we've been unable to make that shift, to focus on agric, to grow the economy. That's
why. Why is it so difficult to go back to farming?
There needs to be a certain, and I don't blame the politicians. I mean, it's about us. Can you imagine if you're told your parents after university that you are going to go into farming? I think they probably thrown the money away. But you can, in this approach, you can only apply models that have worked elsewhere. So, for example, places like China, they've built, I think they call them agricultural transformation schools, where they teach people how to use modern techniques in agric. And they build these things in, there's ones in Zambia, Zimbabwe, Kenya, even Liberia. Because for as long as the hoe and cutlass is associated with agriculture, the young people will do it. I mean, recently I've seen one of the celebrities being tweeting about agric, and I thought it's a fantastic thing. The last tweet I saw was actually talking about his rabbits giving birth. If we get that sort of things, people will start to have a mind shift and start to think of agric.
But you said that it's about economic decision in buying, it's not about emotion.
Okay.
So which agric should we start? Is it rice? Is it cassava? Is it...
Okay, that's a good one. First, we need to stop. We need to allow the currency to go. You know, the cedi will always depreciate. Is the rate, because we don't produce anything locally, and it's cheaper to import than produce locally. And when you produce locally, it's not competitive, so people will not produce.
So allow the cedi to get to its normal level.
Yes, I mean, they say the cedi is whatever it is now. I've always used the model which says that cedi really is way overvalued. It's definitely not up to maybe 10 point something that the Big Mac index says, but it's definitely not. It's not of 5. So you got to get to the point where it's productive for people. It's competitive for people to produce locally, and people should not stop saying that Ghanaians are not entrepreneurial. You know. Hold on.
Yeah. If we allow the cedi to fall to its normal level, which probably is around 6.
Yeah.
Yet you say a lot of our inputs in agriculture are imported. Well, so that's going to make the inputs more expensive.
What I'll do if I was in power is that rather than supporting the cedi, because the cedi is supported.
Yeah, they bring in dollars to support.
I use that money to support agric. Yes.
Okay.
And build over time to make it competitive.
So if you were going to put $100 million to support the dollar, you wouldn't do that. You give it to people to put into their farms to produce. Exactly. But how do you convince people to eat local rice and not Vietnam rice?
It's price. I tell you, the day, Diet Coke becomes more expensive than Diet Coke, okay, let me guess that. Last time I went to buy palm wine, it's almost more expensive than beer. And I said, but I should be drinking beer.
So if palm wine becomes cheaper than beer, people drink it?
People drink it. I mean, the day when you go to the shop, instead of buying pizza, you say, maybe I should buy a quick baby. They were getting the right way.
So 2 points. You're saying, number one, allow the currency to fall to where it has to be. And number two, use the money to support agric so that our agric will be more competitive.
Exactly.
Then people will buy our local agric.
Exactly.
Then the pressure on the dollar goes away.
Exactly.
Then they can raise money from the agric sector to develop.
You see, I went to Uganda.
Because the way it's going, I want you to finish. I'll come to you, so you also go to.
I went to Uganda sometime last year. And do you know how much it costs for a buffet in the hotel? Guess.
I don't know.
Hotel. $5.
A buffet in a hotel?
Yes.
How much does it cost in Ghana?
Well, I think the price above the station of most of the people in the studio.
Maybe 200 cedis?
Yeah, 200 cedis. That's about near $50. Because they produce most of the things, nearly everything in Uganda. Food is cheap. So that's the way.
So you've given me a model of how food can be cheap.
Yes.
Just put money in agric.
You see, I've talked about 2 things. Make agric, a few things. Make agric sexy.
Number 1.
Put the money that you support
the dollar to support agric.
Yes. And then do added, value added. That's it. Okay. What else are you going to do? But this issue about agric, if you go back into our history, we got. Should I go into this? There's a guy called Arthur Willis.
Yes.
Lewis. He came to Ghana.
Yes. Nkrumah's economy.
Yes. And he at the time was the most brilliant black economist in the world. He actually won a Nobel Prize.
He's the creator of development economics.
He's the father, yes. And Nkrumah brought him. He came, I think, 52, 53, December. Left in 53, early 53. Came back, after independence. He came back again as an economic advisor. But after he'd been to Ghana, he'd been around for 3 months. He came back with a plan. You know what he said? He said, focus on agric.
Wow.
But of course, Nkrumah didn't like it because it wasn't sexy enough.
So Nkrumah wanted to do industrialization quickly.
But what has changed? Nothing has changed.
So Arthur Lewis was right.
Yes, what has changed?
But both of you seem to agree on the agric point, just that their methods are different.
Well, I mean... Can I come in here?
I want to ask you a whole different set of questions.
On this agric thing, let me react to that. I'm going to give you a practical aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because we are involved in rice milling.
Your company?
Yes.
Okay.
Rice milling.
We've invested in rice farmers.
Okay.
So you are involved in rice milling. You have invested in rice farmers. Okay. And we eat rice.
But the rice that we produce is far cheaper than the imported rice. So your argument that the foreign rice is cheaper and it's about the price, what we do, that's not the case.
Your rice?
Yes. Rara
Where
rice.
is it produced?
Rara.
You mill it in Rara?
We mill it in Rara. We buy the rice from up north and then also Volta region area. And we mill it. And it's far cheaper.
What quantity of rice do you mill in a month?
We mill a day, 100 tons a day.
Do you sell it here or you
We sell it here in Ghana.
What type of rice?
Jasmine perfume. Perfume jasmine of perfume.
It's cheaper
rice.
than?
It's cheaper than the imported rice.
Really?
I'm telling you. It's out there in the market. It's called a Jumara rice. You can look at.
Okay.
So that point is not the case. That is not the reason why we're having problems in agriculture. Let me give you this perspective. The problem that we have...
No, sorry. You say agriculture is not the way, or I don't understand.
Agriculture is the way.
No, I think
But what I'm saying
your argument
about rice...
because we should pump the money into agri so that it will make it more competitive in terms of price. You're saying the price of some local stuff is already cheaper?
Yes, it's cheaper. But you see, the problem we have in agriculture, and I'll take about rice, we do not have integrated approach of running agriculture in this country. So the first thing is raw material, right? Raw materials. When we started the rice, sometimes land is scattered everywhere. Number two, you don't find the kind of seed you're looking for. So we need to get to the seed.
But don't you agree that we need to put money in agri? That's his point.
I agree.
That's what he's saying.
He's saying that.
But on the same point, he's saying that instead of using the money to support the city artificially, invest it in agri. That's all he's saying.
And that's why I'm saying that let's issue the money and put it directly to agriculture. It's the same thing.
Instead of using the dollar. So there are two things. We go to Eurobond, bring the money and support the dollar. The city against the dollar. You are saying don't do that.
Don't do that.
Print money here and give it to farmers.
And use it to build the structures and all the value chain processes in agriculture. That's it.
So two different angles to addressing the same agriculture
Number
issue.
one.
So at least I've succeeded in getting you to agree on the same point.
You do not have debt money because the money that you bring from Europe, right?
Yeah.
It has debt to that.
Okay.
You issue your own currency, you don't have any debt. It's debt free.
And invest it in local agri.
And then build the value chain, make it more integrated. If you take the people who will produce the seed, you pay them, but make sure that you also have another group that will give you fertilizer, locally produced fertilizer. Build that capacity. Make sure that you have one that does agrochemicals. Then you build that integrated. So one entity becomes somebody's offtake. And then it goes that way. And
that addresses the job question.
That will address
so
the
both
job
of you
question.
agree that the
that will
best
address
area for job
the
creation is
quantity.
in agri?
Precisely. I do agree. When we do that, we will finish with maybe rice, and then the output can become something big for poultry, because we have the husk and all that.
If it's that simple, why isn't it being done?
For me, we need to test it.
Test?
Yeah. I use the word test here. You can start with a small area somewhere, get a University of Ghana or some research entity to start what I'm talking about. If it works.
But Ken, you have to be fair that the model we've run, if it would work, it would have worked long ago. Because all the things you are saying, I've heard it before, I studied it in economics. If it was what you were saying as well, we wouldn't be here. So maybe the way the system is set up, we need something radical, that's what he's saying.
Like what?
I mean, look, you're saying...
So far, I'm not sure.
No, he's saying the same thing. He's saying produce locally, but don't borrow to produce. Use your own money to support your local production. What's so complicated about that? That sounds very simple.
I have to
you understand.
I don't understand.
You disagree.
Honestly, I don't understand.
Hold. You disagree or you don't understand?
I don't understand.
You don't understand that you can produce your own...
You can produce your own money.
Yes. Spend it locally.
It doesn't.
That's the problem for all of us. We've all been schooled into this thing.
If there's a farmer in Rara who needs to produce rice, Does it matter where the money is coming from?
So the farmer in Rara needs to produce rice. So Maslow gives him 100,000 cedis.
Yes.
Produce the rice. Then Maslow gives me another 100,000 cedis because he wants me more cedis to spend. But I'm cancelling out, aren't I? Or it doesn't work like that.
Sorry, can you explain again?
So the farmer in Rara is giving 100,000 cedis to produce.
Yes.
Then I'm also giving 100,000 to buy.
Yes.
So we can't.
As in you give. No,
so nobody's giving you
why should
money
give money to buy?
No, I'm just thinking we're printing more money.
But it doesn't mean that the money comes to you. It goes to the production.
Honestly, don't understand. But you should explain to me. I don't understand.
This is very interesting. Okay, let's move to another point.
Yeah, let's move here.
More taxes. It's very clear the government is contemplating taxes. You've been saying that for a long time.
Well, the government hasn't got a choice. My challenge is its inability to widen the net and rather deepening.
They don't have a choice.
They don't have a choice.
Can they cut back? Can they sell all the V8 and buy Toyota Coronas? Can they reduce the number of ministers? Can they stop foreign travel? Can they save money? You're an accountant. You have cost cutting. They can do that.
Oh, yes, you can. I mean, really, that's what I'm saying. You can increase income, cut expenditure, or do both.
Yes.
The government, they can't touch, the government can't touch the public sector. Because of their own excesses, the civil servants will go on strike. They don't agree. You see, the civil servants will only accept some tightening of belt if they feel that their political masters are doing the same thing. But, I mean, all I see is more V8s. All I see is more foreign travel. So nobody will accept it. So that, let's for the time being say it's a sacred cow. But in any case, we need to, it's not fair that we keep taxing the same people over and over and over again. It's not fair. It's not right.
So government should increase tax, but widen.
Widen.
Not deepen.
No,
but the category of people who are not paying taxes are supposedly informal. They are the ones not paying direct income taxes.
So they claim. But I'm sure a lot of professionals don't pay as well.
You think so?
Oh, I'm sure a lot of professionals don't pay. I mean, recently we said we should have the TIN numbers. I don't know what they use it for. We said you don't have a TIN. I don't know what it's used for. We had a tax amnesty. Nothing has happened. We need to widen it. But we need to be able to explain, understand ourselves that, if you want certain services, it's our taxes that are going to be used for them. It's that simple.
So you think we should widen the tax net, but definitely increase taxes? Do you agree?
Yeah, yes. But let me say one thing here. You see, if you issue treasury securities to fund, let's say, rice cultivation.
Oh, you are going back to rice?
I want to correct him, and I'll come back to that. Hold on. Then I guess he will understand.
Yes.
But what's the difference between treasury securities and then printing?
So because printing is usually seen as a way of leading to inflation.
That is the point. So if we won't have inflation, it will work.
Countries have tried it before.
But the countries that have tried it before, it is not because
they printed money,
but because there were certain things that caused it.
No problem. Now let's go to
taxes. Yes. For taxes, I do agree that everybody has to pay a certain form of tax. Everybody in this country. If you go to the developed world, US for instance, everybody, if your income is below a certain threshold, then you don't pay. But everybody, at the end of the year, you have to file your taxes.
Yes.
But the taxes that we are collecting is not meant for government spending. That's not the idea. The idea is to check inflation. The idea is to drive the currency that we are using. That is the purpose for taxes. But over here, we have made taxes as if government doesn't tax, government doesn't have money to spend.
So you don't think taxes are meant for getting extra money for expenditure?
That is not the case. Originally, that's not the case.
The budget has three main things.
Yes.
The budget, as far as I know, has your revenues, domestic and foreign, your expenditures, and then your debt. Your revenues, domestic, is taxes.
Yes. You see?
And the revenue is what you use for expenditure. That's simple accounting.
You cannot depend on your taxes to be prosperous in any environment.
What do you depend on?
Okay, let me show you. Government spends, let's say, 10 Ghana cedis. And if government should tax back 10 Ghana cedis, there wouldn't be any money left for you to save, left for you to expand your business, left for you to do anything.
So taxes takes money away from the consumer.
Precisely.
So what's the alternative?
Taxes even create unemployment, and I'll show you how. You see, so usually government taxes just to reduce aggregate demand in the system. You take the money, you draw the money, reduces the spendable.
Yes, that's what
that's what it is.
Contractionary fiscal policy.
Precisely. So you always tax to draw money from the system. Over here, we have made taxes the only way that government.
So how do you suggest government gets money to build the roads and do the investment you spoke about?
I go back to what I said. Government should spend, and then if it's coming out as too much, it takes taxes to draw the money out of the system.
Government should spend.
Government should spend.
Where will you get the money from?
I said should do
it. Should print it.
But the point is that, you see, the original idea for printing, you might think it goes in there and fire the printing press and the money comes out. Modern day is not like that.
Do that, I know.
Modern day is not like that. They just mark up computer numbers. Your money is just what is in your account, which is just numbers. So government is just marking up numbers. Your salary goes up is numbers that has gone up. Your salary, if you spend, is numbers that goes down.
You're referring to fiat money.
Fiat money is what we are running on now. That is it.
But if everybody does that, will go into chaos.
Which one? Who will go into chaos?
Because the world system has some normal checks and balances, doesn't it?
As long
and so that every money you issue should be backed by some real production. That's what keeps the equilibrium.
Today.
So if you're just printing money or just jacking up the numbers, the fundamentals will find you out.
That is what we always say.
But it's not true?
But it's not true. We have Japan, we have US, we have all the developed world. Find out what they do. Donald Trump issued 200 and something billion. Where's the money coming from? For infrastructure, for defense. Where's the money coming from? They're just jacking up numbers.
But they have a deficit. That's why the US has, in fact, Japan has been running a deficit for years.
Has it crashed the economy?
No, but that's not a point. But I'm saying that the fact that they have a deficit means that somebody is keeping track. So even though they could be spending more than they are getting, it's still being recorded as a deficit. And it's there.
But who is going to have a problem with that?
Can the economy absorb it? Your economy borrows a lot of money. So the IMF will say your deficit, you can't run it.
So I always say that pay and get out of IMF program. The first thing that you need to do when MPP government.
But nobody's going to lend to you. Now
but do you need that much money?
All your investments in roads, your Temamoto roundabout is being done by Japanese money. Almost all your major roads are done by EU and American money.
Why not giving it to Ghanaians? Why don't
do they have the capacity to do it?
Why don't you build that capacity?
But
you start from somewhere.
I mean, I love what you're saying,
yes.
But I'm just saying there are many constraints a government will face in following your model. Because we have the GIPC. They look for money from foreign investors to invest in infrastructure. Now, if you're saying we can run a deficit, nobody's going to lend to you. Fitch and all these people will downgrade you, and you're going to go bonkers.
Let me start here. You start targeting certain areas. You start producing agriculture and become self-sufficient. I mean, producing in agriculture commodities or whatever, yes, and become self-sufficient. Cocoa, for instance. What stops us from producing more cocoa by using money that we have created to produce more cocoa? We get more foreign exchange, and then we can use that to import or do whatever we want to do because we have more foreign exchange. But here, we take money from foreign market in the form of dollar. We come and produce cocoa. We have to pay debt, and money goes back. Why can't we use the cedi power here and build the cocoa, expand it? It doesn't have a debt. Then we can go and sell it and then raise foreign currency and then do other things.
So this is your method for us getting out of debt?
Precisely.
Ken, we both agree too much debt is not good. What's your method for Ghana getting out of debt?
We've got to stop borrowing. We've got to
stop borrowing.
Stop borrowing, yeah, stop borrowing. And then we've got to borrow. We shouldn't borrow to finance recurrent expenditure, like buy fuel for police, uniform. They should stop all that. Mm-hmm. And then we've got to find a way to ensure that if we are borrowing, mm-hmm, it's going to be on something that we think will deliver some return to pay back the debt. Okay. That's what we need to do. But we just got to stop borrowing. This borrowing has got to stop. It's a time bomb. is just going to blow up. We just got to stop. It's enough. It's enough.
They're saying we are reprofiling our debt.
Well, you
from short-term debt to long-term debt.
Okay.
That's what
the current managers of our economy have done some fancy footwork.
Yes.
So what they've done is that what we're supposed to pay maybe next year, they say, okay, let's pay it in.
It's still debt.
But it's still have to pay. It's crystallized. Yeah. I'm trying to say it in a
nice way.
How to say it like, but if you don't pay it today, you pay tomorrow. But what are you doing to ensure that you have money to pay the debt? That's what we should be asking ourselves. You know, there's nothing wrong with debt, but there's good debt and bad debt. There's this debt where the good debt where we put in projects that can pay for themselves, and there's the bad debt that, you know, we put in projects that halfway are abandoned, or then they go to areas, there are political considerations which determine where they are put. But do you know that there are reports, there's research that shows that between 30 to 40% of the money that we spend on infrastructure is lost through corruption. And that's all debt. That's the challenge we have. That's the big challenge we have. But we're going to stop borrowing.
Let me read more comments for you guys, and then we wrap up. Bernard, it's unlikely that printing new currency will solve our problems. It will actually worsen our situation, given that there will be so much cedis in the economy. I believe exports is the way for it. Parkracy. Hi, Bernard. I'm Raymond. I think Mr. Thompson's claim that our currencies have valued, and hence we are uncompetitive, is quite preposterous. The challenge that makes us uncompetitive are high cost of utilities, unavailability of competitively priced commercial quantities of raw materials in some instances, like in the case of Communal Sugar Factory, broken linkages in industrial supply chain, unavailability and high cost of patient capital for long-dated projects, deteriorated industrial capacity, etc., etc. Kwame Amos says, this is so simple. If I take care of my home, finance my kids' bill, and still continue my project from my income without borrowing, ceteris paribus, I'm not broke. But if I do all this with borrowed money and not achieve positive results, I'm broke. That's Kwame Amo. Mumin from Kumasi, I perfectly agree with printing of more currency. The local currency will make life easier, encourage Ghanaians to stay at work and work on our raw materials into finished products, to get dollars to pay our foreign debt incurred for imported technology and machines. Bernard, I think the economist's views are realistic. We need to stop following same old thinking so we can get new results. Ken and his elite friends have failed us over the years. Norbert Asenso. Let me end with an interesting one. Bernard, very interesting views. This is the difference between an accountant and an economist. So maybe that's what we are seeing. So you have 30 seconds. So Ghana's economy, how is it doing? Yes. Are we okay?
I don't think so. I don't think so in the sense that today, what will happen to the children we're going to have? What are we leaving for them? It's a problem. We were talking about when we were young in the university, when you finish university, you feel like traveling because there's something better out there than here. And it's the same thing that we are doing.
So we're not living a future for our kids.
Precisely.
So Ghana's economy is not doing well.
It's not doing well.
Ken, I just have 10 seconds. So, Ken, your final words.
Ghana is broke. Let's face the reality. Ghana is broke. Let's face up to the reality. Ghana is broke. Let's face up to the reality and deal with it. And this English is too long. Ghana is broke.
Ken Thompson is the CEO of Dalex Finance. They employ 3,000 people and more. Kwame Ofori-Asumeni is the CEO of Gold Coast Financial Holdings. They employ a lot of people as well. They don't agree on a lot of things, but that's why the show exists. My name is Bernard Abler. Thank you for watching. Keep watching CTT. Oh, I wish I hadn't.